We're here with Sanal Edamaruku. He is the president of Rationalist International. How are you doing today?
Hi, hello.
So we'll jump right in. Last year, I guess you were exiled. Is that correct?
Last June I had to leave India.
Had to leave. Could you give us kind of a quick overview of what led up to that? Why you were forced out?
It was not forced out, perhaps. It was all about a miracle. I've been studying a lot of miracles. For last 30 years I've been studying and most of the time debunking a lot of miracles. And it was going on, perfectly. Also we had a lot of campaigns that was reaching people, which had never a problem. But in March last year, when there was a Jesus statue in Mumbai, started releasing water from the feet, and the church claimed that it was weeping of Jesus and flowing through the body and coming down. They collected this water and started distributing to the devotees coming. Every day, on an average, some 1,000 people visited to collect this water. Of course, they diluted this water to make sufficient quantity and gave to a lot of people. And this became news in the mainstream media and in televisions. And of course, I had to comment on that thing. And the primary comment that I made from a Delhi studio was very simple. I said, I would outrightly reject this thing because no statue would ever produce water. It's a question of common sense. There should be a water source, otherwise it would not produce water. The church put a very interesting argument against me. Without empirical evidence, how do you say that? Why don't you come and verify it? In fact, they have been trying to make a small trap for me because I've been quite critical on the miracle mongering of the Catholic Church since some time,
Sure.
starting from Mother Teresa's miracle.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now at Mumbai, when I reached there, I went with the television crew. And when I reached there were some 300 people in front of the crucifix and a prayer was going on. The priest was reading from Bible and people were standing with folded hands. And when he stopped halfway, they started distributing the holy water for everybody, collected from the feet. And people were just licking it. And brought to me also, I didn't take it, but one of my colleagues took sample for it for later chemical analysis. But when I verified, I found of course, the source was very simple. There was dampening and wettening on the back side of the wall. And behind that, again, it was wet. And I found that it was present for quite some time because there was algae already growing. And I went through the lines of the algae and found that it was leading to a toilet.
Oh,
and
no.
the toilet, of course, had a lot of water leaked out and coming and through the water pipe. And I went to the joint just behind the Jesus statue, and I removed the lid of it. It was dirty, clogged water for several days, and it was stinking like anything. So I announced this in the evening television program. I was on a live television program at 9 o'clock, and I got 10 minutes to explain the miracle, and that was very, very successful, because the miracle ended that day, and nobody wanted to visit this place and collect this water the next day. The whole miracle which they have been trying to sell in a very big way, has just ended. But during the discussion, well, of course, I was not alone. On my side, I was alone, and from the other side, following my expose, there were 5 people from the church. So it was a fight between debate or dialogue, what would you say, I don't know exactly, but 5 people at one side and me on the other side, and they have been shouting and screaming and making a lot of sounds, telling that water will never go up through capillary action. God's law is that water goes down only. These kind of arguments they made on public television.
Oh my goodness.
And half the way, apparently the bishop understood the damage his own people were making, and he joined the program. Bishop volunteered to join the program. And then he started making a lot of claims that miracles do work, though this might not be a miracle. So then started a discussion. But the discussion was quite interesting in a way that all the arguments that he could make were flattened so straight and so simple, and his face apparently went completely pale, and he left the place unhappy. And he was on a phone, and I got information from people that he was so furious and so angry, and he shouted on the television that this guy has to be taught a lesson. And the other people in the program from the church, they threatened me publicly that they would file cases against me. Why? Because they lost the argument with me, though there were 6 people at one side and me alone on the other side. Anything that I said, they could have answered, they could have explained. That was the spirit of debate or a dialogue. But when they lost the argument and they got completely exposed, they decided to attack me. And attack started the very evening. When I wanted to come out from the studio, meantime, there was a small crowd waiting for me. And I was told by some of the studio people that they're not devotees, brought by these people, but page beaters, the teamsters waiting outside. And they were not even Catholics or Christians, but just professionals. And these people have hired them just to handle me. I had to remain in the studio till 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was taken out from the backside door later, and I flew to Delhi. Next day, they filed 17 cases against me using an old law of 1860. This law is not really in use in India, but of course the law exists, and which is contradictory to the Constitution of India, because the Constitution gives us freedom of speech and expression. So as per this law, the person who is charged can be arrested without an arrest warrant, and it's non-bailable and cognizable, means he can be kept in prison, and even a bail is not guaranteed. So the law, when it was used against me, they really went seriously on it and tried to get me in. And their blog started discussing very interesting things, that they should get this guy at least for one night, and somebody wanted to pay $1 million to somebody who would kill me in the jail. So this went on, and the whole media came in support of me. And of course, I had information that they are after my life, because the bishop got completely furious because he was humiliated publicly in the argument. And so it went on for some months, and I have been in hiding for nearly 1.5 months. Later, I moved to Europe because I had a lecture tour, and I have gone 1 week in advance to Europe. It was a little risky. And while I've been in Europe, I heard that already police reaching my home and trying to arrest me, and thugs trying to reach my place, and all these kind of things. So I remain in Europe now and run my organization and run the activities in India using advanced technological facilities like internet.
That is a great story. It has everything, and it's actually kind of scary to think that the Catholic Church kind of still has that kind of drive and power like the mafia.
Yeah, I think the Catholic Church in India is trying to imitate the Hindu holy men, and they want to make their own miracles. Of course, they do it everywhere. They have 10,000 holy men, saints, and for each saint, as per the Catholic rule, they need 2 miracles attributed. So John Paul II now recently, he's going to be a saint soon. Sure. And 2 miracles are attributed upon him. The first one was a French nun having her Parkinson's syndrome gone with special prayer. And John Paul himself had Parkinson's syndrome. He could not cure it with miracles, and he has gone for modern medical care. So in the case of Mother Teresa also, Mother Teresa's sainthood was claimed because one lady, namely Monica Besra in Calcutta, she claimed that she had tumor, and she kept a picture of Mother Teresa on her stomach, and the tumor has vanished. And I've studied and got documentary evidence that this lady has been under medical care, and she had a surgical removal of this tumor 2 months back, before the public claim that she made about Mother Teresa. The church was certainly angry about me.
Well, yeah.